my dick. I can't breathe shit.
Bro, get up, get in the car, man.
I will.
Get up, get in the car.
I can't move.
Man, it's hard to watch. But I really, really think some Americans celebrated in a silent kind of sick victory when the video of George Floyd's death surfaced. Why? Well, it's the moment some of these individuals have been waiting for. It was finally here. Years of protests and riots and countless TV interviews calling out white privilege and police brutality, systematic racism, and all that work, the brewing anger, the divide among Americans now could finally lead into a true insurrection. With just one video of a bad cop doing a very bad thing to an African-American man, chaos ensued. Riots. Lives destroyed.
Come on, OG, stay with me. Come on, OG.
Businesses ransacked.
You said Black Lives Matter. Why don't you choke me? I'm black. Look what you did to my store.
But the terror we've seen throughout our nation over the last couple of weeks shouldn't be a surprise. It was all planned. This is their end game. I'm going to show you the dangerous groups they're using to carry it all out. Who is pulling the strings, and how, if they're successful, capitalism and the destruction of America and the Western way of life globally will be the result. Tonight, Insurrection USA. Hello, America. From the Standing Rock Ranch, this is the Glenn Beck program, and I am sorry to report today that insurrection is upon us. Everything that I've warned you about for over a decade now is here. When I was at Fox, I showed you a book written by French intellectuals. It was called The Coming Insurrection. Many of the writers of this went to jail for its publication in France, but you can still buy it on Amazon. If you really want to understand what the media refuses to warn you about, I encourage you to order this book and read it for yourself. It is hair-raising, but not as hair-raising as the things that I will show you tonight. It describes in this book in detail how France could be induced into a full-on collapse. These were radical leftists and anarchists who were sick and tired of the promises by the so-called democratic socialists in France, who refused to ever really come through and deliver on their promises of an overthrow of capitalism. Revolutionaries are only going to bide their time for so long before they act. And that time has come all over the world and here in America. This is the moment they've been waiting for. They've been planning for this for years. They're organized, they're extraordinarily well-funded, and maybe most important, they're scared. They cannot allow the next election to go through, perhaps at all. There's too much at stake for too many people up at the top. There are too many bodies that are about to be dug up. Let me share something that the media refuses to warn you about.
We call on anti-state revolutionary groups to join the revolutionary abolitionist movement and send this message to our comrades to help build the capacity to burn down the American plantation once and for all.
Okay, in case you didn't recognize that song, the lyric says, "Kill your masters." I want to clarify, I reached out to Killer Mike today to find out if that's what he intended this song to be saying, if it was intended to be literal. I haven't had a response yet, but radicals, as they do with everything, have hijacked this song. More on those guys. Terrifying. Later on in the show. But before we go any further, it is important to make clear on what is going on right now all over the country and indeed the Western world. There are three types of groups in these situations. The first are the actual law-abiding protesters. Let's be specific. There is absolutely nothing wrong with what these people, this group, is doing. They should be allowed to be heard, and they have a constitutional right to be heard. Now, I didn't say you have to agree with them, but the framers put the First Amendment at the very top for a reason. What they're doing is very American. However, there are two other groups here, and I can't believe I have to point this out, but I do, because the mainstream media has taken upon themselves to conflate all three groups, and they need to be separated. Like this from the Washington Post, criticizing how conservative media, including me, have talked about not the protests, but the rioting. It's truly unbelievable, but the media appears to be in lockstep to condone lawlessness. CNN posed the question whether nonviolent protest is effective. Are you kidding me? First of all, after all you said about the Tea Party, and then, just in history, the most successful civil rights movements in history were nonviolent. You don't know? Gandhi? MLK? I mean, they've got a pretty good Civil Rights Act today because they didn't set the country on fire like Malcolm X wanted to. The movement was led by church leaders, not Marxists and anarchists. This is the exact text from the Constitution on the First Amendment right to protest the government. And I quote, "The right of the people to peaceably assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances." Notice the emphasis that we added here? Peaceably. The two other groups are not interested in being peaceful because it has nothing to do with the horrid killing in Minneapolis. The second group are thugs looking to take advantage. They're the ones that show up to the protests so they can be there when the looting begins. They don't give a flying crap about justice or anything else. They just want a Louis Vuitton purse. But the third group is the one who I'm focusing on tonight. They are organized insurrectionists. These are the French intellectuals, or at least the ones that they wrote about in the coming insurrection. This is the summer of rage. This is their 1968. The next 5 months leading up to the election is their end game. They will stop at nothing to see their radical agenda come through. But why so desperate now? Well, because their plantation owners don't want you to see things. It's what the media won't show you right now that we're going to show you, and they refuse to connect the dots. But have you noticed how the Senate inquiry to the Russia investigation began really to be non-existent in the press? Who's about to get outed in that investigation? Who's about to be indicted? Or how about the Trump administration's plan to label Antifa as a terrorist organization? And the media's quick reaction to try to shut that down. The New York Times, the editorial page editor, was forced to resign last week after publishing an op-ed from Senator Tom Cotton called "Send in the Troops." Writing about his resignation, the Post described Senator Cotton's article as calling for, quote, "military intervention in U.S. cities where protests over police brutality have ignited violence." Oh, my gosh. Notice they and every other media outlet in the country is claiming that Cotton called for the military to stop the protests. Well, let's look a little bit into this controversial op-ed, because it's not so controversial. Cotton highlights rioters, violence, looters, a police officer shot in the head, and mob throwing bricks. He even clarifies, quote, "A majority who seek to protest peacefully should not be confused with a band of miscreants." This is what caused the furor at the Times? I wonder, what is it they have to be afraid of? Well, they're all scared to death over whose name is going to be called out first. Who's been collaborating with insurrectionists? And yes, insurrectionists are what we are talking about. Which brings me to the Insurrection Act. It was made for this scenario, and I'll prove that to you tonight. It was signed into law in 1807 by Thomas Jefferson, who was not really a fan of authoritarian military dictatorships. After Aaron Burr killed Alexander Hamilton, his plan was to raise an army and rebel. The framers realized that there would be some extreme circumstances where the states could not protect themselves. I think a Marxist anarchist revolution kind of fits that bill. The question now is, Who are the insurrectionists, and what are they doing? The strategy is not groundbreaking. We've seen it before, but it is effective. In fact, it's been used to flip an entire country from capitalism to communism in 3 short years. I showed you another book that you should read last year. It was called "And Not a Shot Was Fired." But the text was never meant for the Western eyes to see. It was actually written by a high-ranking member of the Communist Party in Czechoslovakia in the 1950s. They were describing for history, in detail, how they took a capitalist country and flipped it to communism. Their entire 5-step plan was laid out. See if it sounds familiar to you. Here's step 1. Attack the country's culture. Target churches, unions, mass media, university, political parties, and businesses. Step 2. Attack republic-style democracy. They call for, instead, direct democracy. Direct democracy for communists was considered, quote, an instrument of the socialist revolution, end quote. Step 3, seize the guns. The only people allowed to own guns were government law enforcement and local Marxist militias. Step 4, popularize the revolutionary demands of the streets and insurrectionists. As foot soldiers in the street cried out about the 1%, the Marxist politician called for a wealth tax to punish the rich. Any of this sound familiar? Step 5, coordination between politicians at the top with ground troops in the streets at the bottom. All 5 of these are actively happening right now in America, are they not? American culture is shredded more and more every day. I just read a story where somebody has changed the dictionary now, so we have a new definition of racism. One other thing, the 1619 Project. I'm going to take a deeper dive on this soon. You do not want to miss the first week of July and these programs. The Second Amendment has never been under attack more than it is now. Politicians are echoing revolutionary demands with calls for wealth taxes, ridiculously considering disbanding entire police departments. And step 5, this is what they're concerned about. Because if the details leak out over who's all involved, who's coordinating, who's paying for it, you will never, ever live that down. It's over. But right now their plan is top down, bottom up, inside out. The most important part of the movement, though, is bottom up, the insurrectionists in the street. Who are they? And what exactly are they demanding? So all of us working from home, driving up the worst type of cybercrime. It's home title theft. We're doing it all from home. We're working, we're banking, video conferencing. We got deliveries, shopping. Cyber criminals are having a heyday. They want the money they can get by taking loans out against you and your home. The crime is called home title theft, and the FBI is warning homeowners now. Home title lock is how you protect your home from cyber thieves. It's incredibly easy and cheap to steal your home, and by the time you figure out, it's too late. Your home's legal title is online, where they find it and forge your signature stating that you sold your home to them. Then they take a loan out on your home and leave you with the debt. Banks, insurance, basic identity theft services do not protect you. Home Title Lock puts a virtual barrier around your home's title. Protect your home now. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com. Register your address to see if you're already a victim. And use the promo code BECK and get 3 free 30 days of protection to help you through the crisis. That's code BECK at HomeTitleLock.com. You are being fed a bunch of lies from the media, and this whole episode would be over if the media reported on half of the things that I'm going to show you tonight. Some of them are really disturbing and frightening, but you must not remain silent. They are refusing to warn you about what's really going on. We have got to cut out and cut through all of that and get to the truth. This is why we need your support. You make this possible. You make the Blaze possible. If the election goes against Donald Trump, I fear voices like us will be snuffed out. You pay for the research that you're seeing tonight on this show and make it possible for us to get it out. If you're not a subscriber, please go to blazetv.com and subscribe now. All right, I just want to restate the difference between peaceful protesters and opportunistic rioters and organized insurrectionists. Now, some of people are watching tonight might support the protesters. I mean, how can you not see what you saw and say that's wrong? You might have even protested yourself. As long as it was peaceful, there's nothing wrong with that at all. For them, it's all about being heard. They want justice for George Floyd, and so do I. We all do. But this narrative that the police are all racist is not supported by the facts. Last year, police fatally shot 9 black Americans. During the same year, 19 white Americans were fatally shot. The Justice Department actually did an analysis of the Philadelphia Police Department. They found that white officers were actually less likely to shoot an unarmed black suspect than black or Hispanic officers. Did you catch that? We now know about the case where white officers put their knee on the back of a suspect and then the neck, and the suspect said, "You're going to kill me," and he died, with the officer seemingly not caring at all. You've heard about this in every major news outlet over the past few weeks, but you probably haven't heard about the one I'm actually talking about. Tony Timpa. He's a white suspect. He was killed in the exact same way back in 2016. Both men pleaded for their lives. Both men were ignored by the officers involved. But Tony Timpa never received justice. The case against the police thrown out. The facts don't support racism. But maybe there is a case to review police department training and accountability. However, none of this matters to the insurrectionists. They don't want justice. They want to watch the world burn. I'll get to Antifa here in just a second, but why is everyone giving a pass now to Black Lives Matter? Why? Andy Ngo, a journalist and Antifa expert, has recently stated that Antifa and Black Lives Matter have become temporary allies. Jeez, anarchists and communists coming together. I think there was a chalkboard that said that at one point. If Black Lives Matter is legitimate, then why are they allied with a group that is probably about to be designated as an official terror organization? Well, it turns out they have a lot of common ideas. In 2014, BLM chanted in unison, and I quote, "What do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it? Now." In 2015, a radio host with Black Lives Matter called for killing white people and inciting a race war. Quote, "Today, we live in a time where the white man will be picked off, and there's nothing he can do about it. His day is up. His time is up. We will witness more executions and killings of white people and cops than we ever have before. It's about to go down. It's open season on killing white people and crackers." End quote. This is a Black Lives Matter activist in 2016. Watch this.
To kill a white baby. The less white babies on this planet, the less of you we got, boo.
The blood is on
I
your
hope they kill all the white babies. Kill them all right now. Yeah. Kill them. Kill your grandkids. Kill yourself. Coffin. Go lay in the coffin. Kill yourself. I rebuke these nuts that you ain't got.
How is this anything that America can unite with? State Representative Walter Blackman, who is black, recently called Black Lives Matter a terror group. Quote, "This is my thought on Black Lives Matter. First of all, it's a terrorist organization because it's been deemed or because it's been identified by the FBI already." He also said the protest had been, quote, "hijacked by liberal left extremists." Liberal left extremists? You mean maybe like BLM co-founder Alicia Garza? Garza idealizes the Marxist revolutionary, the former Black Panther and convicted cop killer Assata Shakur for her contributions to the Black liberation movement. Her other heroes include Marxist and former Black Panther Angela Davis and Ella Baker, who was a socialist with ties to the Communist Party USA and the Weather Underground. These are the people that BLM, the co-founders, are holding up, and they're closing out one of their events with, and they all recite the same letter every single time.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Okay, see, the reason why I show you this is we have nothing to lose but our chains. That was ripped right out of the Communist Manifesto of Karl Marx. But the letter in whole was written by Shakur, as in the communist cop killer. This is how they close out every single event. This is some of what is included in their list of demands as well. Full employment, full housing, free college, an end to voter ID laws, the release of all U.S. political prisoners, defunding the police, and collective ownership. That's what this is really all about. It's not racism, it's a communist takeover. Everyone basically now considers BLM as legitimate because the media refuses to tell you the truth. But they are a Marxist revolutionary group, and their founders have been glorified now. Garza was invited into President Obama's final State of the Union. The defund the police narrative going around this week in the country is taken directly from their list of Marxist demands. It's now actually being considered in Los Angeles, in New York City, and in Minneapolis. This is how top-down, bottom-up operates, and it is going to get worse the closer we get to this election. These are the people leading Black Lives Matter, and this is what they stand for. They are simply Marxists. I will say I've spoken to people that support Black Lives Matter. Most of them have no idea about any of this. When you say to them, have you gone to their website? It used to be more clear, but it's been toned down. But all the language hidden in Marxist language is all there. That's what's so dangerous. There are people marching under the banner of BLM. There are millions of people and organizations posting their blackout social media campaign. They have absolutely no idea who they are legitimizing. Can you imagine just saying, yeah, I didn't know anything about the Nazis, what they stand for, but I'm just posting their flag? That's insanity. The last great civil rights movement began in churches with pastors at the helm. Marxists who revere cop killers is not the way. But BLM is not the only radical left group out in the streets causing problems. I chose them first because everyone has been laying the blame almost exclusively on people like Antifa. But I will not let radical Marxist groups be legitimized and their ideology swept under the rug. BLM is dangerous. The president made a lot of heads turn when he sent this tweet on May 31st. I can guarantee you there were people all over the country, at the top and the bottom, that were made very nervous by this tweet. Oh, those people in the government? What started out on college campuses back in 2016 has now exploded in almost every state. How has Antifa evolved over the past 4 years? And what is it going to look like in the future? Next. For millions of people, their pain has dramatically changed the quality of their life. I met with people in this audience who have had real debilitating pain, have been taking narcotics for forever and just wanted to get off and get their life back. The stories are heartbreaking. They've told me their stories of hopelessness and how their lives had cascaded into a fog of the heavy pain medications, and it led to terrible choices, terrible consequences. I've had spouses cry saying, thank you for telling me about Relief Factor. If you feel like you've lost your life, if you feel like you can't do the things you want to anymore, try. Just try Relief Factor. Get your life back. I started taking Relief Factor. It has helped me with my pain. I feel the best that I've felt in probably 6 or 7 years. 100% drug-free, created by doctors. Join me now and get your life back with Relief Factor and their 3-week quick start now for only $19.95. If you're in pain, you have nothing to lose but your pain, and you have everything to gain back. Get your life back at relieffactor.com. There's been a lot of back and forth over who's starting a lot of these riots. Are they from out of state, in state, on and on and on? There's got to be somebody who's an authority on this. Is no one looking into it? Well, we know the media isn't, but actually, there is an official voice that has looked into it. He is New York's head terrorism officer. He's Deputy Commissioner for Intelligence and Counterterrorism. His name is John Miller. He laid everything out when all of this really began to snowball. He said that before the protest even began, anarchist groups were preemptively raising bailout money, recruiting medics, and planning to commit property damage. Really? Miller reviewed 686 of the arrests and found out that 1 out of every 7 were from outside New York City. That number would later grow to 20%. And I'm not talking about driving in from New Haven, Connecticut. They came from places like Iowa, Nevada, Texas, and multiple other faraway states. Antifa has been seen in cities all over the country attempting to hijack and escalate peaceful protests. One suspected Antifa anarchist was sought by Pittsburgh police for being part of a group that actually started the city's riots on May 30th. He was turned over by his parents soon after. In Columbus, Ohio, one suspected Antifa organizers was caught on camera handing out cash, directing people to barricades and mentioning other stuff that they had waiting. I want you to see this.
We're building barricades. Go get everything we can find. Go get everything we can find. These are the boys right here. This is the team. There's more stuff that we can put out here. Hey, there's 3 picnic tables up here. There's a couple picnic tables up here. Let's go. Come on, y'all.
So the Columbus Police Department labeled him a person of interest, asking for help in identifying him. Where's the media on that one? And where's the money coming from? And what is the other stuff this street organizer was talking about? Possibly a large pile of bricks or rocks that have mysteriously been popping up all over the country in riot areas, like the one in police and Missouri found. Maybe that's where some of this money is going? This has been happening all over the country. Some have been proven false, but others are still unexplained. Where is the media? In Dallas, bricks were used to assault police officer. Stacks of bricks were used to assault these officers, like this one. They were found in multiple areas where the protests were planned. 2 Dallas City police officers told law enforcement today that the bricks were, quote, strategically left in places where they would be of benefit to rioters. We've spoken with cops in other agencies and in cities all across the country. They've all seen the same thing. We are of the belief that this was planned and coordinated. End quote. We heard it over and over again. The Texas Department of Public Safety has confirmed that they are investigating Antifa links to all of the Texas violent riots. There's really no question at this point. Something has got to be done. So how do you go after a group like Antifa? And the media loves to point out there is no central leadership structure. It was designed that way on purpose. This is where the radical left learned from the mistakes of their past. Gone are the days of celebrity-like leadership in groups like Weather Underground. There is no top-down structure. As Andy No describes, he describes it as this, quote, Antifa are horizontally organized, meaning they don't have figureheads or leaders. It's all part of their ideology that they should have no authority or state. Mistake to then assume that this means that they have no organization. It's just a different type of organizing media, and one that people are not used to. Project Veritas recently infiltrated one of the oldest Antifa groups in the country, Rose City Antifa in Portland, Oregon. The undercover journalist exposed an organization that is ran, quote, almost like a company that is built to remain anonymous. It is led by these two, Carolyn and Johan Victorin. The couple currently live in Sweden, where Johan is a known radical left-wing activist. The two imported European Antifa into the United States sometime around 2007. The coordination here is absolutely insane. This is a graphic distributed to local Antifa chapters on how to organize riots. We obtained it from the branch here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's laid out like a military battle plan, complete with front lines and communications and support elements like medics and scouts. They even have their own media sites, like this one. It's called itsgoingdownnow.org. This is one of their recent pieces. It's titled Rebellion, Counterinsurgency, and Cracks Within the Ruling Class. If this isn't enough evidence to justify invoking the Insurrection Act and to look out in our own government, who is aiding and abetting? What is? But it does get worse. As BLM Marxists are running this round of protests and Antifa anarchists are fighting with them in the streets, there is now a strong attempt from a new group, one that wants to have one ring to rule them all. If you remember the video that I showed you at the very beginning of the show, the one that twisted the song lyrics that said, "Kill your masters," here's another post from this lovely group.
With the founding of groups like the International Revolutionary People's Guerrilla Forces, it is clear that this is the time for anarchist revolutionaries to act without hesitation. We declare our solidarity with the international anti-fascist and anarchist struggle and propose concrete steps in the fight for abolition. Revolutionary abolitionists must fight hand in hand with those facing oppression. We intend to establish a new underground railroad to free people from bondage. By building revolutionary self-defense networks, connecting them to one another, and developing militant strategies in our neighborhoods, our network will create the capacity to destroy state power and defend our communities. A new global paradigm for revolution has been established, to be taken up by dedicated revolutionaries, autonomous territories, guerrillas in armed struggle, and all those engaged in the global drive towards liberation and away from statehood, capitalism, patriarchy, and domination.
They are called the Revolutionary Abolitionist Movement. This is a shadowy, radical left group looking to direct all others towards a model patterned after what they've done in the past. Patterned, believe it or not, after the Marxist Kurds in northern Syria. We have heard a lot of talk from a lot of politicians. Oh, we got to save the Kurds. We got to save the Kurds. No, the Iraqi Kurds are good. The Syrian Kurds, as you have heard on this program over and over, are people that took territory from Syria through an armed revolt and established a Marxist state. They were not on our side. Now they're trying to overthrow us. They even wrote a version of something similar to the coming insurrection. I want to show it to you. You can get this now off of Amazon as well. It's called Burn Down the American Plantation. They specifically mention the Marxist Kurd revolution and how it, and I quote, charts out an insurgent direction for anarchists organizing today. Oh, well, perfect. The Syrian Kurds were successful in an armed uprising that resulted in successfully seceding from Syria, utilizing their Marxist ideology. Their goal was to secede as much territory as possible before full-on declaring their own nation. Have you seen just what has happened recently in Seattle? After police vacated their precinct in the area, the anarchists set up road blockades, declaring an 8-block area as separate and autonomous from the United States of America. You are entering a free Capitol Hill. You are leaving the United States. Some people have been blowing all of this off. The media will not report any of this, but this is exactly what is going on and what they have been planning. They have written books about it. Why is no one talking about this? I want to show you a flyer that lists their 10 points of action. Some of the highlights here: destroying the state police, the military, and corporations. No law and no money. Just the the end of government, communal ownership, and the end of private property, and the creation of militant revolutionaries. Perfect. Does the media want to continue standing on their reporting that all of these groups are merely protesters, that the revolutionary abolitionist movement were coordinating riots in Brooklyn when everything got crazy at Barclays Center? But that's just nonsense. They were there. This is one of their Twitter posts that still has not been taken down. Note the date here. Note what they say. Prepare to escalate. The planned protest was hijacked and ended in violence. At least one police vehicle was set on fire. Twitter censored President Trump for saying that they claimed, for what they claimed was glorifying violence. But the tweet organizing the riot can stay? Let me show you another one. Here's another one from their branch in Philadelphia. I don't know. What do you think? Jack Dorsey, let us know how these tweets from radical anarchists trying to destroy police, trying to kill Americans, trying to overthrow our government is still on Twitter. Doesn't that violate one of your policies? Listen carefully. This is their bottom-up push to make sure that November doesn't come. But it doesn't work without people at the top supporting them. Just as agitators and insurrectionists have been attempting to hijack the Floyd protests, a similar hijacking has been directed at state justice systems. In some cases, they have been thoroughly infiltrated. And in others, they've just been outright bought. I'll show it to you next. I want to talk to you a little bit about Mercury Real Estate, our partner, and it's really me and my brother. It's my company and my brother's company, and we've been doing it now for about 5 years, and it really came from a place of frustration. We didn't know how to find a good real estate agent. What made a good one, what made a bad one? We didn't know until we got the bad one. So we decided that we would talk to the 500 best real estate agents in the country, according to Wall Street Journal, and see if there was a system. See what is it that they needed. What is it that made them the 500 best? Well, we found out that we started interviewing real estate agents, and now we're just a referral service, and we're free to you. It's realestateagentsitrust.com, and I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to go do your own homework, like everything else on this show. Don't take my word for it, but these are the real estate agents I trust. You can find them now. Do your own homework. realestateagentsitrust.com, and sell your house fast and for the most amount of money, or buy the next one. The questions we should all be asking right now is, where are they getting their money, and how high up the ladder does the coordination with some of these groups go? Remember, bottom up. Bottom up doesn't work without the leaders at the top to support them. Every time you see a local, state, or federal government cave into the demands of radical groups like Antifa, BLM, or RAM, it makes me wonder, whose name is going to get outed once Antifa is officially designated as a terror group and fully investigated? Let me give you an example. All of the groups I've talked about tonight have been calling for the defunding, even the outright disbanding of police departments. They want to live, quote, police-free. Well, look at what's happening right now. New York City, Los Angeles, California, Minneapolis. They've all announced that they plan to either defund or disband their police. This is local top-down, bottom-up in action. They're giving the radicals exactly what they want. Did any of them move for the Tea Party? Not an inch. How many of these leaders in these cities are in direct contact with them? For instance, Jeremiah Ellison said this, and I quote, "I hereby declare officially my support for Antifa. Ellison sits on the Minneapolis City Council. The city council members, the ones pushing to completely disband the police department. And if the name sounds familiar, oh, it should. He's the son of former congressman and current Minnesota State Attorney General Keith Ellison. I wonder what Dad thinks about Antifa as a police enforcer. It looks like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Here we have a city council member and a state attorney general that might pop up on a federal anti-terror investigation if Antifa is labeled a terror group. And this is just in one state. Local governments are infested now with radicals and supporters of radical groups like Antifa. After rioters went wild in the streets of Seattle, the city council blamed the cops. They even endorsed the looting and rioting. Watch this from Socialist Seattle council member Tammy Morales. It is unbelievable.
People are willing to help do those repairs, and I'm extremely thankful that nobody was injured there. But what I don't want to hear is for our constituents to be told to be civil, not to be reactionary, to be told that looting doesn't solve anything. And, you know, it does make me wonder and ask the question why looting bothers people so much more than knowing that across the country, Black men and women are dying every day and far too often at the hands of those who are sworn to protect and serve.
Boy, it takes everything in me to sit and listen to these people. Radicals run our major cities. They are all infiltrated and infested, and it doesn't stop at the local level. How far up the chain does this go? Last year, the Democratic Socialist Convention was largely made fun of. Do you remember this clip?
Can you please just keep the chatter to a minimum? It's affecting my ability to focus. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. Okay, is there a speaker
Thank you,
against
comrade.
name chapter pronouns?
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Okay.
These people are insane. I couldn't tell if it was real or a South Park episode, but we mocked them as they deserve. But in making fun of them, a lot of us, including me, missed something very important. For years, the DSA had attempted to keep at a safe distance from any talk of Antifa, at least publicly. Journalist Andy Ngo has now documented the DSA marching with Antifa out on the streets for years. But again, everything was done unofficially until last August at their ridiculous jazz hand convention. DSA voted officially to establish an anti-fascist working group. It barely passed with a vote of 521 to 493. So why is it so controversial? Because everyone in the room knew what it meant. They were now officially allied with a group like Antifa. Journalist and activist Arasha Nomani did a search of DSA social media surrounding the protests and riots, and she found their demands were exactly the same as the rhetoric coming from Antifa. So how closely does the DSA work with groups such as Antifa? They claim politicians that go straight to the top in Washington, D.C. Ilhan Omar, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, not to mention the activists like Linda Sarsour. Could any of these names show up on an FBI counter-terror wiretap? We'll have to wait and see. But I can guarantee you that every person on the left in Washington is having the piss scared out of them right now. Always remember, the bottom-up street activists are absolutely the most important part of their strategy. They need chaos in the streets. They need us fighting with them. What they can't have is for them to be reined in. That's why they oppose the president invoking the Insurrection Act. That's why they all collectively freaked out over Senator Cotton's op-ed. Have you noticed how many district attorneys have all begun to drop the charges and refuse to prosecute rioters? We've seen it now in Washington, D.C. We've seen it in San Francisco and New York City. It's happening everywhere. Really? Why? Why is that happening? When was the last time you paid attention to who was running your local district attorney? I'd be willing to bet most of us have never thought, gee, I wonder what's happening in the exciting DA race this year. I hate to do this again, but you really literally can't research or look into any of these things without running into, yes, spooky dude himself. Look, I've really tried, but he's always connected to these things. He's a dark lord. He just is. George Soros has been buying district attorneys all over the country since at least 2015. He's poured millions to try to reshape the justice system. He can't do it at the federal level, so he switched gears and went directly to the states. Oh, and by the way, he's also funding BLM. In 2015, he bought DAs in Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, Illinois, New Mexico, all of them, with plans to scale back arrests, decriminalization, and basically everything you're now hearing from the street radicals. Coincidence? In 2017, Soros pumped $1.45 million into to swing the DA election in Philadelphia. It's happening over and over again, from California to New York. They've been planning this since before the election, but it doesn't end with George Soros. I want to show you something. This is an email sent from the New York University to the New York State Office of the Attorney General. It mentions 2 NYU applicants to augment the AG office. The NYU project is called the Impact Center. It's financed by Michael Bloomberg. They're infiltrating the state justice systems with liberal lawyers financed by a liberal billionaire. Their fellows are in states all over the country. I promise you, they're most likely in yours. You should make a phone call tomorrow and find out. 2 years ago, the Oregon legislature sent this letter to the AG's office reminding him that this is not legal. This is how Bloomberg and NYU attempted to get around that. From their website, they state, quote, NYU pays the salaries of the law fellows, but the fellows' sole duty of loyalty is to the Attorney General in whose office he or she serves. All work performed by the fellows is entirely identified and managed by the respective AG offices. I've talked to AGs in other states. That's not what's happening. Yes, we pay these liberal hacks with liberal hack billions, but we don't tell them what to do. Really. Don't believe it for a second. And now we have proof. The Maryland AG's office has 3 Bloomberg fellows. This email reveals the special assistant AG was getting direction from NYU's Impact Center, not the AG. If I may quickly quote, I want to get a little better sense than I currently have about what the center envisions for these positions. They're talking and taking their marching orders from people not elected, not from the Attorney General, but from Bloomberg's NYU Impact Center. Bottom up, top down, inside out. More on this on tomorrow's radio program, glennbeck.com, and we will see you again. Good night from the Standing Rock Ranch.